How can you launch your career or relaunch your career with a returnship? Well, what we're going to talk about today is first, we'll talk about what is a returnship, the benefits of participating in a returnship program. We'll go through a few examples of companies offering returnships, and this is not all inclusive. So there are many more out there, and share some resources and organizations who are kind of dedicated to helping people return to work. We'll talk about what you can do on your resume. And of course, as I mentioned previously, we will take your questions at the end. So let's get started. What exactly is a returnship? Well, a returnship is an adult internship specifically for those who have been out of work for a certain period of time for a variety of reasons. And you'll see as you dive into researching returnships, there are some that require you to be out of work for at least a year, some it's 2 years, and some it might even be more than that. So depending on the specific company, there might be other exact requirements for who would be eligible. And oftentimes there are application windows to put in your name and your application, of course, for a returnship. It's similar to like a college internship program, if you will. Now, there are benefits, of course, to a returnship. For you, the returnship allows you to ease back into work. Many of these programs are shorter in length, usually around 10 to 12 weeks. That's an average. Sometimes they can even be part-time or less than 40 hours per week. So if you are nervous about jumping into something 100% full-time after being out of work for a while and something that's more long-term, a returnship can really help ease you back into this like world of work, if you will, without a huge commitment. Returnships also help you build mentorship and support, particularly when you are going back to work. A lot of companies are developing full programmatic elements for their returnship programs, including providing you a mentor, career guidance, and more, just to help you navigate the transition back to work without feeling alone and kind of like out there on an island trying to figure it out by yourself. A returnship can give you the opportunity to try out a new career. So, interning and, of course, a returnship provides a really safe way and a nice way that people can kind of get their toes wet in a new industry without making a big financial commitment by, paying for another degree or going back to school. And so, a returnship really can, have this benefit for you as well. Returnships can help you grow your network, which is really critical in today's market. They provide a great way to make connections and even provide you a recommendation if you end up applying for a similar job down the road after a returnship. So connecting with your coworkers, your boss on LinkedIn for any returnship that you have, and consider asking them for tips on how to find a job within the industry as you go through your returnship. They can help provide you with leads, perhaps. They can, kind of be on your side and look for opportunities for you as well. A returnship really allows you to also add some fresh experience to your resume. This shows employers that you're dedicated to learning your new craft and your new industry, your new role. And of course, hands-on experience goes far in qualifying you for a job outside of your previous work experience. And if you have any employment gaps, of course, and this is, kind of why a lot of you are here to go back to work after having a break on your in your employment, you can use a returnship to kind of add that to your work experience section. And finally, of course, a returnship can help you land a new job. Just like college internships sometimes result in a job offer, adult internships or returnships can as well. It shouldn't be expected, though, but it is possible that if you perform at a high level and impress your manager, it could lead to a permanent position. And there is a benefit to the employer here as well, because you've already been trained and onboarded to the company. And so it is a really cost-effective way for organizations to hire employees as well. So let's go through some companies that offer returnships to give you an idea what type of programs might look like. We've got some research, and I wanted to highlight just a few that are offering these programs. I do want to put a note out there, though, that this information was from the company's websites. There are more than what's on this list, and this is continually changing. We have done this webinar a couple of times, and every time things are a little bit different with the companies. And so these are meant to be examples, and we have resources for you to explore further, and then we'll send that in the recap, okay? So first, Goldman Sachs is one company that has a returnship designed for talented professionals who are looking to restart their careers after an extended absence from the workforce. Since 2008, they have sought to listen and continuously innovate to increase the number of opportunities in the return to work space so that they can recruit the best talent regardless of any gaps on a resume. So this returnship at Goldman Sachs offers people returning to the workforce fresh opportunities. It is paid. It's a 6-month program that includes exploring new career areas and an exploration of whether a full-time return to working is a timely move. Now, they have offices in many different places. And so in preparing for this today, availability was in New York, Illinois, Texas, a few places in Texas, New Jersey, Delaware, and Florida and Utah. But there might be all other opportunities that come to light as you do some additional research. All right, Morgan Stanley has a return to work initiative that provides a roadmap for people who are relaunching their careers after having a break. The 12-week paid internship program is aimed at people whose careers are fluid and do not follow a traditional path. And that could be many of us out there, right? A lot of us have had non-traditional career paths. Program locations for Morgan Stanley returnships are in select cities in the United States, India, Hungary, England, and Scotland. Now, this one is shorter than the Goldman Sachs. During this 12 to 16 week paid program, a participant is placed in businesses that complement your skills and experience. And of course, they do mention that after you complete the program, you may receive an offer of full-time employment. For Morgan Stanley, typically their applications for the following year are available in September. So in September, check for the applications for the Morgan Stanley return to work programs. On the slide, these are a few of the areas that they generally have opportunities available. Of course, Morgan Stanley is a financial institution, so they have a lot of banking and finance, wealth management, risk management opportunities, and some others as well. All right, next up is SAP. Their return to work program is 20 weeks in North America, and it is for mid-career professionals that have 5 years work experience who've taken a career break of 2 or more years for relocation, caregiving, or military service. So this program includes workshops, coaching, and a dedicated mentor. We mentioned that earlier, right? To ease the transition to help you on-ramp back to work. Highlights of this program, there are remote and hybrid roles across many different industries, sales, marketing, development, etc. And it is a structured program, and the vacancies that they have are allocated for exclusively for returnship opportunities. Right, let's see what we have next. Johnson & Johnson. So this is another opportunity for you to explore. The Johnson & Johnson program is called Reignite for experienced professionals ready to return to work after a career break of 2 years or longer. You can revisit and get back into your career by working on projects based on your goals. You will learn and it will help you build confidence to get back into the system, if you will, of being an employee. And this program from Johnson & Johnson is for Military service, people who are rejoining the workforce after military service, starting or raising a family, caring for a family member, people who have done community service or been in political office, entrepreneurs, volunteers, and done some continuing education. And of course, they consider any other professional pursuits as well. So this is definitely an option for many people who are returning to work, and that is Johnson & Johnson. And up next, we have universal giving. This is a marketing role, a marketing returnee. It is remote, and the position is available for part-time work 5 to 20 hours a week with a 6-month commitment. And the application information is on here. You can email jobs@universalgiving.org. Again, you will get a link to this recording, and so you'll have that, and you can find out some more information on this returnship moving forward. All right. I promised that we would go over some companies specifically offering returnships. And now I want to point out 2 organizations who are focused on helping people return to work. One of those organizations is Path Forward. They have a lot of resources, so many resources. If you are looking to restart your career after caregiving, they have specific information on that. They also work with companies who are looking to implement returnship programs, and they have a very robust list of probably hundreds of companies that do offer some type of return to work programming. And then Pave the Path Forward is another initiative that they have as well. So you can check out their website at pathforward.org for more information. And the other company is called Relaunch. They do have a TED Talk by their founder, and I encourage you to listen to that. They have a podcast, and they also have a community. They do provide a comprehensive list of paid return to work programs worldwide. So for those of you that want to work somewhere outside of the United States, or you're already located outside of the United States, this might be a really good resource for you as well. All right. So as you think about going back to work, one of the things you'll want to address is the gap on your resume from having some time out of the workforce. In our resources section, we have samples and templates for you that look just like this, but I wanted to provide and talk through some of these examples of putting a career break on your resume. Now you can see we have in the experience section, we have it worded a couple of different ways. Just a career break. We could say planned career break, or you could also say active career break or professionally active career break. Okay. It is up to you what you want to do. A planned career break, you might put a bullet that says something like an intentional pause to focus on full-time caregiving, excited and energized to return to work. Easy. You don't have to go into any more detail. Now, if you were laid off, one of the things that you could say is one of multiple people laid off due to a change in company strategy or a company acquisition or reduction in force, whatever that might be. If you have been active and pursuing other courses or other activities, things like that, you might say something like you might have this on your resume. It was a few years ago now, but you could say part of a reduction in force due to global pandemic, proactively pursuing certifications or proactively pursued certifications within an online format in QuickBooks and Microsoft Office, or whatever those certifications were. So there are some ways that you can briefly mention your break, but also then let the employer know that you didn't stop learning and growing so that you are ready to go back into a returnship and into the workforce. All right. So going forward, first and foremost, I would put together some research. So you want to go to these websites, you want to look at companies and see what you can find in your field of work or in a field you're interested in working in. And then you want to prepare for the applications. You want to prepare your resume so that you probably will include that on your applications. You'll put all of the due dates on a calendar. You want to lean into your network. You want to figure out how to address your career break, not just on your resume, but also on a place like your LinkedIn profile or other digital profiles as well. All right, as promised, we will be getting to your questions in just a second, and we are going to send you a link to this recording so you can look for that within the next couple of days. Please check out the flexjobs.com blog or article section of our website, where we have thousands of articles that can help you not only with a returnship, but also any other efforts that you're putting forward in your job search. And that those resources there are there to help and guide you through the process. So without further ado, let's go ahead and see what questions we have. Okay, this is Tony. Thanks for being here today. We've got a few questions, so I'm going to dive right in. Are there remote returnships? If so, do any of the before mentioned examples include remote returnships? Yes, there are options for remote. I think the SAS option had remote for sure. If you go to the resources section now, and of course this will come to you in the email, I have linked, or we have linked each of the returnships that were mentioned on the slides. That's just 4 or 5. But also we have linked Path Forward and Relaunch, where you can get the hundreds of returnships that are available. You might be able, I can't remember, you might be able to search for remote as a filter specifically, but yes, there are remote returnships available. Do recruiters or hiring managers utilize FlexJobs for finding candidates? An approved employer could do that on FlexJobs. We don't see that as much anymore, given the number of applicants companies receive for every job that is posted. So always we recommend a very proactive approach to your job search. Not waiting for a recruiter or a hiring manager to reach out to you, because they are receiving a ton of applicants for each job that they post. What challenges do returners commonly face when re-entering the workforce, and how can they overcome them? There could be, a number of different challenges. It kind of really depends. Of course, getting used to a work schedule again, I think, can be a challenge. I mean, my kids have just started school for the fall, and just getting back into the school year routine is a little bit challenging. So if you're trying to get used to a new job, I think also if you are doing a returnship and kind of pivoting your industry or making somewhat of a career shift, there's going to be a learning curve there. So really giving yourself grace as you move through and go through the process is going to be really important, because you have to just realize, recognize, remember, and remind yourself that this is something new, that you haven't been working for a while, and the knowledge will come as you go through more onboarding and training. Here's another question about returnships being fully remote or being expected to go in person. You're going to find both available types of returnships. Some have location requirements, and some are able to be done remotely. Will these employers consider applicants with intermittent contract work, so not out of work 2 years straight, but have done short-term contract work? That is something that you'd have to ask specifically of the return ship. I don't know what the flexibility level is for, some of those requirements. When you apply to a job, you don't have to meet all of the requirements for the job to be a competitive applicant. So for example, if the job posting says must have 5 years experience or a degree in this or something along those lines, but you meet every other criteria, you could still apply and be competitive. Now the idea behind the returnship is that you have had time out of the workforce. I haven't seen anything to delineate like how contract work or freelance work impacts that. So that would be a question that I would probably reach out to the particular company you are interested in applying with. Would a returnship be good for older workers in their 60s? I think absolutely it could be good for that. Where can you find returnship opportunities? So hopefully it was helpful in the webinar, but I would go to Path Forward. Also, I Relaunch, and also there is a FlexJobs article linked in the resources that has returnship opportunities as well. Are returnships becoming more popular? I guess it's probably safe to say that yeah, they are. I think companies, are wanting to, provide an avenue for um, talented professionals to have a way to get back into the workforce, and also certainly bring a new or different approach to the type of work that they're looking for, particularly if you're doing a career change. So I think that I expect these opportunities to at least continue to be there, if not grow. We talked about that already. Would a career break where you still worked part-time qualify? Again, I would do a little bit of research on the organization that you are looking to do a returnship for. Like, it's possible that, a bridge job, like maybe if you did a retail job locally at, Target or CVS, whatever that might be, could be a possibility, but that would be something that the company that does the returnship would be best to l- ask. And also some of these returnship organizations, they may have like information sessions or a contact person on the website that you can reach out to ask some of these questions, specifically to the organization that you want to work for, that is. Let's see. Please cover career break due to disability and caregiver for ailing relative. Yeah. So in the resources section, we also have samples for this. So you can look at that. But what I would say is a planned career break. And then I would write a bullet that says an intentional pause out of the workforce to take care of family, excited and energized for returning to work or returnship opportunities if you are applying for a returnship. How do I address a company on a resume that is no longer available? If the company merged or was acquired by another company, you could use that and note that there was a merger or an acquisition. If it's no longer in business, I don't know how far into your work experience history it is. It's likely fine to, I mean, that's the company that you worked for when you worked for it. And so you can keep that on your resume. If you want to put a little note in parentheses that the company, was acquired or is no longer doing business in the same way, you certainly could do that. How long? Oh, here's a good question, and I did not answer this specifically yet. How long should an employment gap be on your resume before you specifically add a section on your resume to address it? I think a good rule of thumb is 6 months, but certainly anything longer than a year should have a career break. Or you should think about adding a career break there, particularly if it is something that you're in right now, and it's been over a year since you've worked. Is there any such opportunity in India? I bet there is. And using the Path Forward and I Relaunch links will help you kind of comb through the returnship opportunities to see. I kind of feel like one of the banking ones had some opportunity in India, but I can't remember off the top of my head. All right, last question. If working on a certification, should the date be listed on when you would receive the certification? Yeah, what I would do in parentheses would be is to put behind the certification, let's say project management or whatever it is, then parentheses expected completion month year. So 5/26 and then the parentheses. And that way you're letting the employer know you are enrolled or doing a certification and also letting them know when you are expected to complete it. Because some certifications, take months, others might take weeks. And so it's helpful to give the employer a general idea of when you would be finishing. Please share for indie opportunity or how to get info. If you go to the resources section and hit preview, one of the links is for Path Forward. So I would go to Path Forward or the other link, relaunch.com, for opportunities that you can search for returnships in your specific location, India or otherwise. All right. Let's see. That looks like we got all the questions. Just FYI, we will be sending a link to this recording. Hopefully it was helpful. Make sure you keep those resources bookmarked because that's going to give you a launching point for research on if and what type and where and what deadline a specific returnship would be for you. And so that will be really helpful for you to have as you go forward and try to work towards finding a returnship. Can you put that answer in the chat, please? So in the resources, if you go, just okay. Let's see if I can do this here. I don't know if I can copy this, but pathforward.org. Again, this is going to be in the resources section, pathforward.org. is a website you can use, and also irelaunch dot is it .org or .com? .com. I'm not sure how the filters are set up on the site for searching for location specific. So you'll have to go to the site and play around with the filters that are there for you for the returnship location you're looking for. All right, everybody. Hopefully this was helpful for you. Good luck adding returnship possibility to your job search, and hopefully you're able to find some potential opportunities that you can explore further. As usual, we really appreciate your time and you attending and asking such thoughtful questions for your job search, and we hope it is helpful. Thanks, everybody. Have a really great day.